What influenced you growing up? What music? What was the first lot of music you started hearing?
The first lot of music, wow. Well, just like growing up as a young kid at home, I would say probably church music. Like my mum would she was a big fan of this artist called Jim Reeves.
Right.
And so that was a soundtrack growing up, listening to Jim Reeves music. And then I remember like we used to have this like gramophone thing, like it was like a drawer, like a drawer stuff, and you lift it up, and at the turntables the old gramophone things. And there was one record I remember, I can't even remember the name of it, but I can sing a little bit. It goes, come on baby and rescue me, 'cause I need you by my side. Can't you see that I love you? Rescue me. That tune there, right? I remember it just like spinning around on a 7-inch. And I don't know why up to this day that always stands out as probably one of the first records that I recognised as a record, remember as a record, and loved as a tune. Like if you say what was the first track that you ever can remember that you liked, would have been that probably. Yeah,
what year would you say that was?
Wow, I was like, God knows, I must have been about 6, 7, 8, young.
Wow.
Yeah, just young.
And you can remember it that.
Yeah.
You can remember it that vividly.
Of course, yeah, definitely, because, you know, it's just part of growing up and what you see, you know what I mean? And so that was probably the first record that stood out. Of course, reggae music was the background to growing up, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I learned lots of my brothers, you get what I'm saying? They were like always going out buying new tunes. There was one record shop. I come from a place called Gloucester.
Yeah.
It's like 30 miles outside Bristol, for people who don't know where it is. Just like a real small little town. And so if you wanted any action, you'd have to go down to Bristol. Bristol was where or go down to Birmingham or whatever, which was like 45 minutes. So we had one club, one record shop, just one of everything, you get what I'm saying? And a strong Jamaican community, you get what I'm saying? And it's a sort of place where if you saw a black person, even if you didn't know them, you would shake your head, you say hello to them, because you would know their family, you would know, everybody knew everybody, you get what I'm saying? It was that small that you just didn't walk past. So it was weird when I first came to London, I carried on doing the same thing. Like every time I see black people, I say, hello, hello. And they'd look at me like I was mad, like, you get what I'm saying? And so I just gradually stopped doing that, you get what I'm saying? Because I realised that vibe was different, because London's so big, and so black people didn't connect in that way as like the community vibe that we had in Gloucester. Whereas I didn't know that person, but I knew their mum, I knew their son, or I knew their brother, or they knew who we were, or whatever. So you know what I mean? You know, so
and is that how you consume? Like, how did you consume reggae? And like you're saying, church,
because it was like
music,
in Gloucester, everybody listened to reggae music. It was a strong Jamaican community, and we had one club. Everything happened at that club: christenings, weddings, and raves, everything. It was like, even in the daytime, the men used to go there and play dominoes and that kind of stuff. So it was like a community place as well.
And where did everyone like discover their music to play? Like radio or local DJs? How you're saying like it was so different in Gloucester to when you moved down to London? So how did everyone
through sound systems, I guess, at that time, because you never really had the radio. At that time there was no radio where you could hear that kind of music, so it was just like the record shops and going to parties and clubs and hearing what DJs were playing. And so that's how music got, you know, that's how you got to know what was going on, through going out clubbing and listening to DJs.
And living in Gloucester, what were the first lot of DJs you heard that you can remember?
Well, there weren't DJs that time, it was sound systems.
So Selectors, sound
systems, right? So you know, wow, you know, it was a sound system culture at the time, you get what I'm saying? Whereas now, where everybody's a DJ or artist or producer, those days everybody was wanted to be affiliated with a sound system, you get what I'm saying? So like in Gloucester you had like lots of different sound systems, and everyone was affiliated with one, you get what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that was the thing to do. That was the cool thing to be affiliated with a sound, you get what I'm saying?
Can you remember what sound system, the first sound system you were affiliated to?
Yeah, it was the main sound in Gloucester was called Challenger. This was like, there was this guy called Kingsley, and he took us in, me and all my boys, he took us in, and we were box boys at the time, you get what I'm saying? He was the main sound in Gloucester, and like he would represent Gloucester. Like if any sound system was to come to Gloucester, it would be us that would be challenging them. And like if there was christenings or parties, or he was the one that would be getting booked and all that. So he was the main sound system, and then you had a lot of other younger youths that were starting sound system, but he was like the older edge, you get what I'm saying? So he had the respect, and so yeah, we kind of got guided through with him. I used to hang around, we'd go to his house, he had a cellar, we used to go down there, play dominoes and just vibe and just like be his box boys, you get what I'm saying? Go around the country and carry the boxes, wire up the sound systems. I mean, that was just an experience in itself, just like the whole sound system culture thing, going out, whose duty was to do what, the vibe, the clashing with sound systems, getting dub plates cut, the whole experience of traveling in, cause we used to have a van, like a big van, and all the boxes would be in the van, and like we would all have to travel in the back of the van with the boxes, and so like the boxes would be falling over the place and we'd be all in the van, but it was fun, you get what I'm saying, you know?
How old were you when you started as a box boy?
Oh, I must have been about 12, 13.
Love that.
Yeah. 12,
Love
13.
that.
Yeah.
And you was 12 years old, being a box boy, carrying the speakers.
Yeah, I mean, it's carrying speakers, stringing up the sound system as well. Like, you get what I'm saying? Because, you know, we built, like, you didn't buy a sound system, you built it back then. You get what I'm saying? You know, you would go to someone and get a mixer, special mixers. It was all about who could go to the person and get the best mixer, because that was going to give you the best results. You used to build the sound systems. I remember like going to Tandy's and then places, buying the speakers. Then we would go to the wood yard, get the wood, ironmongers, get the nails and everything, and make the speaker boxes, you get what I'm saying, ourselves, make the tweeters, the mid-range boxes, and you know, all the wire, everything. So we built it from scratch, and then you'd have all the amplifiers, and the more amplifiers you add, the more weight line you add, you get what I'm saying? So you have to build more boxes, you get what I'm saying? And it was like, used to have Volve amps, or used to have like transistor amps and all that, and it was just like 1,000 watts amplifier, and that was a statement when you used to play your sound systems. The more amplifiers that you had piled up was a statement of how, you know, how big and bad you were, you get what I'm saying? Like, rah, look how much amplifiers got and this and that. So that was kind of like the culture of
it.
Like,
fascinates me, 12 years of age, right, and you're introduced into that. When was that? Like what, 70s?
Yeah, God, because I'm 60 now, so you're talking, God knows. I mean, you know, for me, I don't look back. It's only like when I'm talking to guys like you,
because I want to know.
Yeah, but I'm always looking forward, you get what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow, was it that long ago? Because sometimes it feels like a long journey, and then sometimes it feels like, wow, that was not too long ago, you get what I'm saying? So it's mad.
When did you realise you wanted to be a selector?
It wasn't like, it just kind of happened, you get what I'm saying? Like, we were all around the sound systems, and like, I was like around this Challenger. That was the name of our sound system, Challenger. And we used to go out, and like as I said, I was a box boy. We used to go out, string up and all that. We used to hate it, you get what I'm saying? Because at the end of the night, everybody just wanted to go home, you get what I'm saying? And you had to kind of like pull down the sound system. You could be out of town, in country, whatever, so you had to kind of like some of these clubs as well, they'll be like, you have to carry the speaker boxes up like all kinds of stairs, and it was just mad hard work, you get what I'm saying? But you look back on it, you laugh, but it wasn't fun at the time, you get what I'm saying? And like at the end of the night, a lot of people would disappear and all that, so there'd be more work because people just didn't want to do it, or man would just find 2 gal and gone and this and that, so it'd be end up like just a few of us to do it. You wouldn't get back home to like 5, 6, 7, 8 in the morning, so it was crazy, but it was fun. Anyway, I carried on doing that, earned my stripes, and yeah, I've always had a good ear for music, I guess, you get what I'm saying? I don't know how I managed to, maybe because Kingsley, the guy who ran the sound system, he kind of saw the attention that I was giving to music more than probably the rest, and trusted my yeah, so like all of a sudden, like, you know, I've said this story before, you with the sound system, you got like quite a few roles, but 3 main roles, and that would be the operator, who was Kingsley, you get what I'm saying, and he's usually the guy who owns the sound system. He's the operator because he's the one that kind of controls everything, mixes down the bass, brings on the treble, whatever, you get what I'm saying. He puts the records on the needles and all that, and does all that kind of stuff, you get what I'm saying. And obviously he doesn't want no one to blow his speaker boxes, so he's the one who's controlling the sound. And then you would have the MC, like back then they were called toasters, right? So they were just like, everybody would call toasters who used to chat on the mic, and so you'd have a toaster there, and then you'd have like someone who selects the music. And so I'll be in the record box, my head in the record box, just selecting the tunes, because you have a big record box, like it's massive, like a wardrobe, and it will be sectioned off, parts for 7 inches, parts for 12 inches and all that, you get what I'm saying? So you have all your 7 inches or whatever, and you just select the music, and I'll give it to Kingsley, and he'd select it and put it on the tune, and then the MC would be, the toaster would be doing his thing, and that's how it kind of works, you get what I'm saying?
Mate, can you see the smile on my face just hearing you explaining this
yeah, it was just
magical
yeah, you know,
time.
that's just how it ran. That's just how our sound system used to run. And then, like, you know, we'd have sound clashes and stuff like that with other sound systems, and those were fun. You know, you used to get dub plates cut. Some of them could be offensive. You'd make intros and stuff like that, and saying things like "suck out your mama" and this and all kind of things. You get what I'm saying? Just to kind of, it was all in jest, all in fun. You get what I'm saying? Just to get the crowd on your side and this the sound.
Did the sound play any other styles, or was it just reggae?
At that time, yeah, it was just strictly roots reggae. You know, yes, steppers, dub, stuff like, you know what I mean, Twinkle Brothers, and just, you know what I mean, just dub.
Because you've got a vast array of musical knowledge, like you started the podcast singing, like a soulful song, then going into like reggae sound systems. But at the time of like selecting the tunes, was there other styles of music you were checking for?
At the time, it was just like, you know what I mean, just the hot reggae tunes them that were coming out. There was one record shop in Gloucester called Les, and it was a shubbing, it was a wine bar, it was a record shop,
right?
And yeah, it was a place where at night time, you know, what would you call them? The lady of the nights would just hang out and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it was a place where you didn't really want to be too hanging around, but that was the only place you could get records. And so every Friday, you get what I'm saying, he would get his new stock in, and my brother would buy the latest tunes. And you get what I'm saying, when my brother used to go to work, I used to sneak up into this room and play all the tunes, you know.
Wow.
And stuff. And I told him about that story the other day, and he goes, "What?" You get what I'm saying? But I couldn't, because, you know, you couldn't touch his records. They were precious things back then, my brother, you get what I'm saying? And like, if anyhow he caught me in this room,
so your brother was an influence on your
very
music.
Big, yeah, very big, because he was the one that was like, you know, he would come back with the new album from Tapazuki, the new Dennis Brown album, all the Bob Marley albums and everything. Also like stuff like soul albums as well, because he was into soul, and you know, William Devon and stuff like that. You
love William Devon,
I remember that album. That's probably one of the first albums, like R&B albums, that sticks out in my mind. You get what I'm saying? You know, Just Be Thankful,
Absolute tune.
And
I've got it on 12 and 7.
Yeah,
all my
that
sevens
album
right
was
there,
on repeat in our house. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You may not drive
Yeah.
a corridor.
All your VR.
There was another one.
You to
Give
sing.
the little man
Tune. Yeah.
a great big. Oh, sure. So
Yeah.
that was, you know what I mean. So stuff like that was what we grew up on.
So the sound was reggae, but you was consuming lots.
You know, just
and-
good music that was about at the time. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, mate, I love that. So you started like age of 12 carrying the boxes, working your way up through the sound system. Was you good at school? Was you
No.
You was naughty at school.
Yeah, and that's yeah, I had problems at school. I wasn't very
Attentive.
I wasn't very good, and I got expelled.
Yeah.
Got expelled 2 years before you finished school.
Yeah, same as me. Same as me.
So
my mum's always ashamed of that. But
so it's just like ended up the last 2 years, which I kind of regret now because it was a very important part of me, of my education and stuff. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I wasted that. I wasted because you're just young and you end up hanging around the wrong people and doing the wrong things, and that's what I did. You get what I'm saying? And I think I was sidetracked by music as well.
yeah,
And so a
yeah.
lot of things was just like school was just not for me.
It just did. It was the same for me.
Yeah.
Like once I discovered music, once all the elders had influenced me, and I'd seen that like their exciting lives were far more.
Yeah.
For me, school was just. It was just music.
So I used to go around my
music.
friend's yard, Russell. It's weird because I saw him on tour actually. While I was on tour last year, we did this tour of Asia. Me and Paul T and Ed O'Brien and all that, and we went to one of those countries in Asia, and I saw my boy Russell. He's a teacher out there because a lot
Right.
of people left England and they go out to these Asian countries and they teach teach English. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? And I'm like, Russell, how the hell are you out here doing teaching? I used to come. We used to bunk up school and come to your yard, and you used to encourage it, and we just smoke weed and do wrong things. And now to see you're a teacher, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When we were bunking school and like at your house all the time, and he just laughed and all that, you know what I mean? So that was just good to see, you know what I mean?
You know the mad thing with me, I got thrown out of school, but I've taught my kids the opposite. Like they've been to college, they've been to uni, because you want your kids to do the opposite. Like you said, like you wish you'd done different things at school.
Definitely.
I have no regrets, but I'm conscious about learning things that I didn't learn.
Yeah,
you know?
I got a lot of regrets about that. You get what I'm saying? Because I missed out on a lot of education and just learning like important things about life and stuff. And it was hard enough as well, just growing up like without a father figure as well.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Because I never had a father. My father was there, but we didn't grow up together. You get what I'm saying? So I didn't have that father figure around me. Just my mom. You get what I'm saying? And she had 7 kids, 7 of us to look after. So it was hard for her. You get what I'm saying? And so I just kind of like lost the plot and just did my own thing and just went off the rails. You get what I'm saying?
What year did you get thrown out of school? I'm trying to.
It would have been like 2 years before you finished school. So I'm not sure what year it was.
Mid to late 70s.
Yeah, and first they sent you to this place where you're supposed to report to like a detention, like a place where kids that get kicked out of school got to go.
I had all that as well. They used to send me to like go here and try and get a job, or go here and all of that. I had all that.
That didn't last long. So that's just ended up around Russell smoking weed.
And so you pretty much every week you're out with a sound system.
Yeah, we used to play about, you get what I'm saying, all over like Bristol, Swindon.
Yeah.
Played a lot around in Gloucester as well. So we used to always be playing.
When did you start buying a vast amount of records and going from like selecting for the sound system and listening to your brothers? At what point in your life did you start like consuming and buying lots of records?
I remember my first album was an album called Frontline, Virgin put it out. It was 99p.
Yeah.
And that's why I bought it, because it was really cheap.
And it was like a compilation, wasn't it, of various reggae tracks.
It was like a black fist.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and it's got blood coming down.
Yeah,
the
it had you, Roy Natty. Yeah,
you know the album. Yeah,
it had you, Roy Natty Rebel on it, and other stuff.
I'm a rebel.
So Rebel.
And Mighty Diamonds and all them kind of tunes on it. So it was a bargain for 99p.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I was just like, wow, I can afford that. So that was my first ever album. But I'd say probably, I remember going to London, like Kingsley would give me some money for the sound system and say go to London and buy some tunes. And I remember going to Brixton Market. There was a guy called George, Chinese George, and he had a stall in the market, and I just remember going there and buying the Aswad track, so that I remember buying that tune. So that was probably my first visit to London, and just stunned by being in Brixton and like hearing so much about Brixton, and from someone coming from Gloucester, and finally in London and in Brixton, this place that I've been hearing about like all my life, you get what I'm saying, and fascinated to be in Brixton Market and just taking it all in, you get what I'm saying, and thinking to myself, this is me, man, you know what I mean, I need to be here, you get what I'm saying, just knowing that I just felt like I needed to be in London. I need to be here to just carry on what I need to do, or out, you know what I mean, carry on my journey. Is like, because Gloucester was really slow and quiet, you get what I'm saying, like as I said earlier on, if you wanted any action you have to drive down to Bristol or Birmingham or whatever to really, you know what I mean, and so things were, it was a quiet place, you get what I'm saying, so yeah, most people would leave Gloucester and move on to other places to kind of like progress.
So what year did you move to Brixton?
Mate, you're killing me now, man. I told you, man. He
can remember tunes. He can sing songs.
Listen here, man. It's like, what do you say again? What year?
What year did you move to Brixton?
What happened is, I moved to Hackney first. When I first come to London, right, it was like everything just kind of happened. You know, my sister was living in Hackney, and we used to come down and see my sister and spend the weekend and go out raving, and we used to go to some places called, well, you like ended up doing
Four Aces.
Yeah. That was one of the very first places I went when I first came to London, you get what I'm saying? Four Aces, and then there was another club called Cubies, and Shaka used to play there as well, so we used to go there. And then there was a place called All Nations over in I think it was Hackney as well. All Nations. Oh, this place was just sick. It was just like lovers rock and lots of like soul music, and everybody dressed up, the girls them just looking all beautiful, the guys them just looking cool and all that. Them times everybody was wearing beaver hats and stuff like that, and that's, you know, I was like, that's it, man, that's it, I'm not going back home. And I stayed with my sister in Hackney, and then I outstayed my stay, and she said, you can't stay, you gotta find somewhere else to go, you get what I'm saying. And so yeah, I managed to find a little squat in London, and yeah, ended up squatting in London, in South London, and staying.
And at the time, was you working? What was you doing for money to feed your like inquisitiveness about buying records?
This is weird, you know, because my first so like I'm squatting in Brixton now, and I need money and stuff like that. So I'm in Brixton Market, and I asked them for a job, and they give me a job. And so my first job was working in Brixton Market as a cleaner, like cleaning the floors, washing the floors, and like you had all these stores, like the meat stall, the vegetable stall, the fish stall, everything. And like when they finished their stuff, they would throw out the boxes on the floor and say, like, Gary, come pick up the boxes. So I had to pick up the boxes. I used to have a trolley, and I used to take them outside around the back of the market, and there was a big furnace, and I used to burn everything. And then like at the end of the day, when the market was closed, I used to have to like hose the floor, get all rid of the fish blood, all the dirt on the floor, sweep the floor, everything. On a Saturday afternoon, I'll be there, and I felt like raw because I just see like enough girls and stuff like that. And, you know what I mean? And I'm there just doing this sweeping up job and shit like that. But I just did it for like about a year. You get what I'm saying? And yeah, I loved it. But yeah, that's you have to start somewhere, man. So
of course, we all
my first job was sweeping Brixton Market and cleaning the floors and picking up the fish heads. And
how long was you squatting for?
I squatted until they said you can't stay here no more. And them times there, right, it was so easy to squat. You just like see an empty place and you just go in there and it's yours. You get what I'm saying? And like no one did anything. Like it was just common at that time. So we were squatting in Brixton in this nice house and all that. And they came and said, "No, you can't stay here, but we'll give you a flat."
When you say we, who was you squatting?
I was with my good friend Donovan Bad Boy Smith.
Yeah.
His brother.
Right,
Me and him grew up together, and we did everything together. Boston, his name is Bossa Move and all that. So we were living together, and a few other friends from Gloucester, and we were all squatting.
Wow.
Yeah. So
because when I think of Gloucester, I think of Donovan Bad Boy Smith as well.
Well, Donovan is weird because Donovan was like a mentor to me as well, because I remember growing up, like me and Boston, his brother, like we were into reggae, we were doing the Sound System Challenger together and all that. But when we used to go back to Donovan's house, because Donovan, his mum was the coolest mum ever. You get what I'm saying? Like she was gangster. You get what I'm saying? And she would chat with all the young girls. I mean, every time you go to Donovan's house, right, she'd be like, "What you got for me?" and this and that, and she could have banter with the kids. It wasn't just like certain parents where you'd be just like, "All right, Mrs. this or whatever," but you could have banter. You can talk about any shit that was going down in your life, bad things, good things. You could talk to her about it, and she would give you advice or whatever. You could open up to her. You get what I'm saying? So Donovan had a real cool mum. You get what I'm saying? And like we would all go around there and hang out and stuff. But Donovan was always into this like funky. He had all this Jerry curl stuff, right? And he was into this like jazzy funky stuff, and we kind of like looked at it as like, what is all that kind of like, you know what I mean, dancing and pretty hair and all that kind of stuff, you get what I'm saying? And so we just kind of like, whatever, you get what I'm saying, because we were just hardcore into our roots, and we all had dreadlocks and stuff like that, you get what I'm saying? But what happened is when I went to jail, I'm jumping the gun now, but when I ended up going to jail and I came out of jail, this is in London now, because I'm kind of really jumping the gun.
Are we in the 80s?
Yes, I'm jumping the gun just to kind of tell you
a story.
My story with Donovan. Donovan really, like, what happened, I went to jail and only knew about reggae music. Sitting in jail now, I ended up banged up with some soul head and whatever, and so we just ended up listening to Robbie Vincent every day, Tony Blackburn, Dave Pierce, all these kind of. I'm like, okay, yeah, because I'm open for music and stuff, so I'm starting to listen to stuff. So when I come out now, I'm really into this stuff, and it was Donovan that I went to and cleaned out his record collection. You get what I'm saying? Cleaned out, because it was a time where he just wanted to get rid of all his records, and I was just cleaned out all his Roy Ayers and all his classics clear, and so much gems. You get what I'm saying? I'm talking like gems, you know, James Brown, Lynn Collins, Zap, everything.
Right? Can I say, Donovan Bad Boy Smith, I've got to big you up, right? Because a few years ago, he posted a video of a load of records from your shed, all the kind of music you're just talking about, and I thought, wow, we've got
most of them probably were Donovan's,
right? We got similar record collections, and I've got to ask him about getting records from all that point, right? Donovan, you've got to come and sit in this chair, mate. Because Donovan, seriously, he is like that has just blown my mind.
Like even now, it's weird when I talk to Donovan now. If we were a drum and bass tune, and you just recognize that's the sample from, and you know exactly where that sample from, what group, what year, what album. It's not. You need to definitely
mate, you've just blown my mind. Like you because there's always someone who influences someone else, and you've just like my inquisitive mind. Because I wanted to talk to you about like jazz, funk, and soul, and you've just told me. You just said like going. to prison hearing Robbie Vincent, Tony Blackburn, Dave Pearce. I love Dave Pearce. I grew up listening to him. Tony Blackburn, me and Frost was saying what an influence he was on.
Yeah, in a weird way, because he was a pop DJ kind of at first, but then when he went on to Radio London, he started to kind of roll out some beats, like some R&B stuff and more soul stuff and funky stuff. And so it was like, it was listening to him every day was just like a learning process. You get what I'm saying?
Because Radio London was wicked. They had like Dave Pearce and Roger Johnson on Night FM. They had Tony Blackburn during the day.
That's right.
Radio London. I used to love looking into that.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Do you mind saying why you went away?
I don't mind. Like when I came to London, I said, this was during, just after probably like working in the Brixton market and stuff like that. I think I probably left there around about the same time. You just kind of end up hanging out with the wrong kind of crew. When I look back on it now, there was some guys in Brixton that I kind of started to hang around with, and it was the wrong sort of guys. You get what I'm saying? And we ended up starting to do robberies and burglaries and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? And it went on and on and on until you get caught. You get what I'm saying?
And sorry, mate. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, you get caught, and we did a robbery in Brixton, just outside the Prince of Wales, actually, right on the corner where the KFC is. You get what I'm saying? Right there, and we did a robbery there, and everyone else got away except for me. But I tried to get away. I was the one that got caught, and one of my friends who did the robbery that I was with, he held a knife to a man's neck and marked his neck.
Right.
And so so I went to court now, and they asked me, I wouldn't give my boys in, you get what I'm saying? So I took all the rap for myself, you get what I'm saying?
And how long did you go away for?
2.5 years. And that was 2 years that I made sure, I said to myself, I'm never ever gonna do this again, you get what I'm saying? Because just like the minute I heard that key lock, that door, and and you're locked in that cell, is a feeling that I never forget, you get what I'm saying? And it's like, I was determined not to go back there again, you get what I'm saying?
What was that, mid-80s?
Yeah.
I judge everything from music, so when you're saying Dave Pearce and Tony Blackburn, my brain is taking me back to that
era. That's the era
period. So would you say that was a turning point of you coming out and going, I've got to be serious about music? When did the serious...
I always loved music, but I probably coming to London, because I was doing the sound system thing when I was in Gloucester, but then coming to London, I wasn't with the sound system, so I had nothing to do, you get what I'm saying? And I was idle, so that's how I ended up with the wrong people, doing the wrong things and stuff. Going to jail just like put me back on focus, because this story I've told many times already, right? But when I was in jail, weirdly enough, I was banged up with this crazy DJ that just loved funk and R&B and stuff. He was the one that kind of put Rob, because I wouldn't be listening to Rob, I wouldn't even know who Robbie Vincent was, you know what I mean? So he was like, and I'm listening to stuff, and at first I wasn't into it. It's Robbie Vincent and Tony Blackburn, but then things grow on you, you get what I'm saying? You're in jail, you listen to anything, you get what I'm saying? I listen to John Peel. I love John Peel because you just, Steve Wright in the afternoon, right? Listen to everything, and you look forward to it because you're in jail. What else have you got to look forward to? Nothing else. So end up listening to all this music. I'm just loving it, and just looking forward to Robbie Vincent. He was the one, because like you and Tony, like Blackburn and Jeff, them guys, Jeff Young and Dave Pearce and all them guys there, they would play like a lot of the regular stuff, but Robbie Vincent would go deep. You get what I'm saying? He would like just delve into that deeper stuff, not the stuff that you kind of hear out there all the time, but he was like a connoisseur, you get what I'm saying? And so I love Robbie Vincent, you know what I mean? And man, as soon as I come out, I was like, this is some of the direction that I want to go in musically, you get what I'm saying? So I started to look for all this music. I started to just look for this music, started to do house parties when I was in just around Peckham and Brixton and all that stuff. I built a sound system, called it Clear, because there was a funk group called Clear.
Clear, yep.
And I really like their stuff, you get what I'm saying? So I said, yeah, that
KLEER.
That's
Clear,
right,
yeah.
because you had sound systems called Maze at the time, and Touch of Class and Funkadelic, all after like funk groups or whatever, you get what I'm saying, like Maze and stuff like that. So I thought, yeah, Clear. So I went with Clear. We used to do house parties and stuff like that, and that's when I decided to go to Donovan's to enhance my selection and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so that's when I raided his house and took all his tunes and just kind of liked that time. The rare groove thing was really massive. Like you had big sounds like Mystery and stuff like that, and you had stations like LWR, JFM, Solar Radio and stuff like that at the time, you get what I'm saying? So yeah, before LWR, JFM, Solar Radio and stuff like that. So I used to listen to these stations avidly and just get knowledge about, you know what I mean,
tunes
music
and
and stuff like that.
What was going on. So you think prison changed your life?
Definitely, yeah, you know what I mean? Definitely. You know, I was never that sort of person. You get what I'm saying? You know, I was always just like more into music, and I just think coming to London, just, you know, if I wasn't really, I just got, you know, when you just following you just following the crowd and you end up doing something, but it would, that sort of stuff wouldn't have been something that I would have intentionally thought of doing on my own. If I was like, you know what I mean, on my jacks, let me just walk around and do some whatever. But I was just, I'm not trying to blame it on people, but I was just...
Well, you was young, impressionable.
Yeah.
So when did you start on pirate radio?
That started as well around that same time. You know, I'm in my house now listening to the same stations I'm talking about, JFM, Solar Radio, just going through the DAR, listening to all the pirate stations. And then this pirate station called Quest FM pops up. And I'm listening to them because they're playing good music. And then the DJ's like, if anyone wants to join the station, give us a call, blah blah blah. So I was like, yeah, okay. So give them a call. This guy called Gary M, he ran the station. He said, yeah, come down. I said, where are you based? He said, yeah, Balham. So I went down there, and it was this old derelict house. It was really like squatty, like mashed down house, and like you had to go upstairs, and when you go upstairs now, some of the stairs were missing. So if you not careful, you know what I mean, one of them ones you're gonna fall down into some deep hole. So I'm like, rah, you know what I mean. So anyway, I went down there, met the guy, and he goes, yeah man, when can you start? Straight away I was like, yeah, okay, cool. So I turned up the next day with my records, and there was this girl called DJ Caroline, and she was on before me, and she was like, coming up next we got, what's your name? And I was like, well, my sound's called Clear. She goes, what's your name? I was like, Gary. And she says, yeah, but what's your DJ name? And I never thought about that at all until I got there. I was like, DJ name? No, I didn't think about that. She goes, what's your name then? I said, like, Gary. She goes, Gary doesn't sound good. What's your second name? I said, Bryan. So she goes, all right, then why don't we just call you Bryan Gee?
And so that was it.
Yeah, so I was like, okay. And it sounded really weird to me because it was just like my name, Bryan.
And that was it.
Yeah, Bryan Gee. So I said, okay, cool. And I sat down and I was Bryan Gee. You get what I'm saying?
Did you ever see Caroline now?
I haven't seen her for years now.
Wow.
I haven't seen her now. Well, yeah.
That has blown my mind.
Yeah. So that's how I got the name Bryan Gee. It wasn't something I wish now I had time to think about something like that, and I would have come with a crazier name. You get what I'm saying? Something like Groove Rider, you know?
Bryan,
Fabio, a sexy name, you know what I mean?
But
because it's my surname, it's nothing new to me. It's just my name.
No, the name's cool.
Well, it's grown on me now. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, so that's how it started. So yeah, that's how my radio career started. So we was doing Quest FM, and the venue got a bit bait and all that, and so they closed it down, and we decided to carry on with some new guys, some reggae guys that I knew from Brixton. They invested in it, and they said, let's take it to Brixton. So we brought it to Brixton, and we had it in my house, in my bedroom, for about 2 years.
Wow, you had pirate radio in your bedroom.
Yeah. Passion Radio it was called. Passion Radio. It was a big station in Brixton, and you know, I see people like Commander B. What's the big DJ on BBC Radio 1 now? Big reggae DJ. They all started off in my bedroom. You know what I mean? And I like this guy, the guy that Howard that used to run the station, or who invested in the station. He had a reggae label as well, so he used to bring through all of these reggae artists. And they used to all come through the house and sit down to do interviews and like just, so it was weird because I'll be seeing all these reggae legends just in my yard, just coming through daily, just sitting down doing interviews with Chris Goldfinger. That's it.
Goldfinger,
Chris
he was on the tip of my tongue.
Chris Goldfinger. All them guys, they start staff MCing, DJing in my yard. You get what I'm saying? Commander B, enough of them. You get what I'm saying? So Courtney Melody, enough of them. And so yeah, it was good seeing all like Leroy Smart, all these legendary reggae artists just in my yard passing through. But it got a bit much because you're talking about having a pirate radio station in your bedroom for like 2 years. You're talking 24 hours a day. You got DJs just coming in, out to your house. So it affects your private life. You get what I'm saying?
Wow.
Because like I'm trying to hide that I've got a pirate station in my yard, and when like I'd invite girls or friends round, I'm trying to close the door, and they're like, "Why is people coming and going like every couple of
This
hours?"
seems almost unreal. Like
because I'm trying to keep it undercover, but I'm not really doing a great job of it because it's hard when you got people every 2 hours, the door's knocking, people are coming in and people are going, and you're trying to just like lie about what's going on in your house. You get what I'm saying?
I think
and the threat of just like getting your door kicked off any moment now because you don't know when the DTI are going to turn up and stuff, so you're always on edge. You get what I'm saying? Like even in your bed you're on edge. And because it was like in my house now, every time the radio station got raided, the boss would call me up and he goes, "Oh, you got to go and see what's happened." And so I had to go to Kennington. That's where the rig was, and the aerial and all that shit. And we had to see if it was either DTI or it was a rival station, because we used to have lots of rivals that would steal other stations' rigs just to get them off air so that they could get the listeners. You get what I'm saying? So it was a common thing. You get what I'm saying? If you knew where someone's rig was, you go there, you nick it, and keep it for yourself, and you know that you're going to get their listeners because it's a fight for listeners. You get what I'm saying?
We've had some brilliant pirate radio stories on this, right? Vibes was running his pirate radio station from his mum's garage and got raided at his mum's. But I think yours is fascinating me more. 2 years, 24/7 round the clock. Right, but you had a boss of the station who was telling you what to go and get this, go and do that. But it was in your house.
3, 4 in the morning he would call me because I'll be sleeping because I'm not listening to the station all the time. I'll be sleeping and all that. And he goes, because at night time we used to play lots of R&B and smooth music and stuff, and so he'd be up there listening. I'm not at the station, but he'd be there listening to the station with his girl and stuff, and all of a sudden the station get cut off and you call me, "Gary," and and I have to run down to Kennington to see if it was a DTI or what happened and stuff. And we'd be off, and then the next day now we'd have to go over to North London and get another rig built or order another rig, and it take us a couple of days, and then you have to buy another aerial again or whatever, or if it's DTI, and put the fucking aerial back up. And oh man, it's just mad, but it's just what you did. You get what I'm saying?
I love this story.
But and the mess as well. It was just like, because you know what people are like, you get what I'm saying? So they come with chips, Kentucky, beer, drinks, cigarettes. So the place was just a mess, you get what I'm saying? But I don't know, I did it, you get what I'm saying? Because I did it because it was, where else could we put the station? And then eventually we found somewhere else to put the station. No, what happened is at that time, the governments were giving out licensing for stations and all that. You get what I'm saying? And we wanted one. We were like, you know what? Because we had a big, strong community in Brixton. Everybody knew Passion Radio. We had the whole South London in our hands. Like everybody listened to Passion. It was like every car on the street, everywhere you go, passion. You get what I'm saying? So we thought, yeah, let's go for it. So they said, listen here, if anybody who was applying for the station, they cannot be broadcasting. You gotta come off the air and all that. You get what I'm saying? And we didn't want to do that. You get what I'm saying? Because advertising money is coming in. Everything we love doing. So we decided, let's plot the station over East London and give it a new name, call it Lightning instead of Passion, and then all the DJs just change their names until the application of the license goes through, and then if we get it.
Sorry, did Lightning was on Kisses 94 when Lightning come on? Kiss went and Lightning was on.
Well, that was Passion. Lightning was my station.
Yeah, and then Lightning went on to the Kisses dial.
I don't know where it went because
sorry, mate. I remember listening to. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I was having my own reminiscent moment about Lightning.
So we call it Lightning, and we went over to Bow and broadcasted from over Bow to make it look like it wasn't us.
Yeah.
And everybody had to change their names. All the DJs. That's how Frosty actually. That's how, because Nigel's name was. He had some street thug name before, right?
What,
was
Nigel?
Yeah, Nigel. It was a name where you wouldn't want to meet that person when you hear the name. You're like, right? But it was a road name. I forgot what it was, but it was a thug out name, right? And that was his name at the time. And then like, we had to all change our names, and somehow he came up with Jumping Jack Frost, and I came up with De Niro. Can you believe it?
De Niro.
Right? Oh, the nothing. Even when I get time to think about a name, I still come up with a shit one.
De Niro.
So like, we was on the station now, De Niro, Jumping Jack Frost, and then Choice FM ended up getting the license.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, Choice FM got the license, so we said, "Fuck it, let's go back to our normal selves." Because I just wanted to get rid of that De Niro tag, right?
I can't believe it was De Niro.
I had all these jingles. De Niro. I still got them now, De Niro, like in a Barry White voice and all that stuff.
We've got to hear them.
Right? And Frost was like, you know what? I'm running with this Jumping Jack Frost. I'm not going back to that thug that name. You get what I'm saying? And so he decided to keep his name Jumping Jack Frost. And so that's just a story about
So when the radio station was in your house,
in my bedroom.
Was you playing out at like local gigs and stuff?
Not as like at that time. You get what I'm saying? I was just kind of like more. I was doing a bit of stuff. Yeah, I was doing bits, but not as much as I would have liked to.
Was you getting paid for having the radio in your? No. You were just privileged to have the radio.
I don't know where the advertising money was going to, right? But advertising money was coming in. But Howard was the sort of person that you dare not ask about. He was like a don back then. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And feared. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like, you just did what you was told, and money. I mean, he looked after me and made sure I was all right. But it wasn't just like, you know what I mean, getting money. But you know what? Back then, it wasn't about the money.
You just wanted to think about the money.
It was all about the music, Bill. You get what I'm saying? It was like we did things for the love of the music.
Of course, yeah.
Maybe blindsided. We should have thought more about money then times there, but we were just glad to play music.
Yeah.
Some of them gigs, their early gigs, I would have paid to go there. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just to play.
So how was your fault? You carried on doing your jobs and your odd jobs and stuff like that to pay for your records or pay for living?
You know what? I'm thinking back now, and I'm just thinking to myself, I don't know how I survived back then. You get what I'm saying? I think like the money wasn't coming in from gigs and stuff like that, and I was probably on the dole at that time.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So I was just stretching out my dole check every 2 weeks.
It fascinates me that you're passionately around the radio.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. We used to like, you know, I used to love smoking and stuff. And we, you know, when I was on the door, we used to end up having to buy ash because ash could go stronger. You get what I'm saying? And like, as soon as you get your door checked, we'd buy a special brew or whatever. You get what I'm saying?
Special brew. My dad, he used to drink like 6-7 of them a day. That was my dad's thing. My dad's thing was special brew. But, yeah, fascinating. Your pirate radio story fascinates me.
I mean, yeah, the pirate radio story. I mean, like, I used to do a show called a promo show, and it's basically what I'm still doing right now. You know what I mean? Like, Nigel had a show on there. We all had our shows and stuff, and basically what we used to do back then, we used to always, all the record companies used to go around and used to collect promos, and that's how I got into like the industry side of things. Yeah. Because we used to go around, especially like West London. It was just like West London was just blessed with record companies. You know, you had Virgin and all these companies around Ladbroke Grove area and stuff like that. Loads of labels and record companies that time.
Yeah, because you've always been that. You've always just been music,
Cool
record
Tempo,
minded,
Champion. We used to go to all London, FFRR, Virgin, all the little labels, and we used to go around there and just get promos, get the latest promos from all these companies, you get what I'm saying, and starting to build relationships with club promotion people and A&R people in these places, you get what I'm saying, you know, because this was the birth of the rave scene.